Yes, that's Lit with me, Shazzy D, here on Triple H 100.1 FM. Joining me today is a very, very special guest in the studio right now is Tarisai Vushe. Tarisai, you were a contestant on Australian Idol.
Yes, and it was a very funny exit too.
Yes. But thinking back to the start, if we can go back to the start and, looking back now, what was that experience like going into it in the beginning?
Well, looking back at it now, time flies. It's about, how many years ago? 13 years ago, I think. And it was just right about this month that I was starting auditioning. And looking back at it and then watching some of my students do similar shows, The Voice, X Factor, Australia's Got Talent, I can say it was not easy. Yeah. And I still wonder how I actually survived.
Yeah, okay.
To that extent. Like, seriously, thinking about it now, maybe it's because I was a bit young. So, when you get down to thinking about a lot of things, I remember having a heated argument with my mum about going on that show, and she's like, Tarisai, you're still at uni and I need you to focus at uni. I was like, oh, whatever, I'm actually going to go through it. And I actually did, and she was actually shocked that I kept on going far. Well, I mean, when I auditioned, I didn't think I would go further, but I kept on finding myself going to the next round. I was like, hey, wait a minute, I don't think I can stop this anymore. I think I just have to give in and just continue. Yeah. So that's how I auditioned. So I was not really serious when I went for it. It was just like a trial and error. And then I just found, okay, I'm actually accepted here and I'm actually loved. Okay, so let's continue. And that's what I did.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was spontaneous, yeah.
Yeah, because you made it right up to, the top 5, which was incredible, an incredible achievement.
Oh, thank you.
So after, that whole experience, you got through Idol, you also have been doing, many other things as well. So you were also involved in The Lion King.
Yeah.
How did that all come about?
That was amazing. Lion King, I was studying music theatre, Bachelor of Music Theatre at the Australian Institute of Music. And my head teacher, Jennifer Murphy, was asked by Disney, I think Leanne Shoney, she auditions for The Voice as well. She casts. And she's like, listen, I'm looking for in your group if you have people that are really good singers and that match for The Lion King. And she only said, I've got one girl. But she's always late for uni, like all the time. And I just hope she won't embarrass me. And at that time, I was just about to graduate the degree anyway. And so she recommended me. And then while I was, that audition took about 9 months. Wow. So it was literally throughout the year. And it was tough. I remember I had gruesome moments through it, going out, coming back. And that's how I got it, through a recommendation from my teacher at uni. And I remember when I got the phone call, I'd actually gone to Zimbabwe for about 3 weeks or a month. And I was actually sleeping from jet lag, and the producer calls me, Disney, and she's like, Tarisai, it's Paula from Walt Disney. And I'm like, what do you want? Because I didn't know who she was. Yeah. Like, it just didn't register in my mind. She's like, I'd like to offer you a job for The Lion King, Walt Disney. I'm like, wait a minute. What are you talking about? I was like, is this for real? And she's like, would you like to do your costume fittings tomorrow? And like, remove hair extensions. You're going to be plain. Tomorrow is a Wednesday and we'll schedule you for fitting. So when I went in there, I was like, listen, you better be serious, because once I've come here for fitting, like, it was literally, the fittings were from 9 till 5, and we're actually paid, which is great. That was my first pay from Walt Disney, those hours. And I was like, you better be serious, because after trying to fit me all these costumes for the whole day, and I'm talking about costumes with, like, puppets, like really heavy stuff, and trying on the grasslands things, and I was like, you better not change your mind, because I mean, it was a dream come true. I mean, people like Usher have tried for The Lion King and they've been declined, like they've been denied, so that favor. So I was really grateful. Lion King is epic. It's like worldwide. Once you're a Lion King, honey, just know you're rolling. Yeah. So that was good. I was really happy. Yeah.
Incredible. And you played Rafiki, didn't you? And you played a hyena? What, Shenzi?
Shenzi. Yeah. I was Shenzi, Rafiki, and I was part of the ensemble as well.
Okay. So you had plenty of roles.
We had plenty of roles inside, and it was just fun to change for the 3 years. It was really good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you saw the film as well beforehand, and so getting to play the characters.
Yeah, but that confused us in auditions because what's on the in the movie is not what you do on stage. It's different things. And obviously some of the stuff we failed. Most of the things are like, but how come this is in the movie? And they're like, no, honey, even if it's in the movie, you're not supposed to do it like that, because stage is more like you got to give more out in terms of acting wise, more than the movie, than the animation. So a few different things were there, but it was an amazing show. It's an amazing show.
And you're also part of Madiba the Musical.
Yes.
Yes. How's that?
That was a very beautiful musical. It was written by a French guy, and I think he did a great job. It was a few things that were really touching, like the story, just facing reality of what South Africans used to go through. That was intense, and we would get up to a time where reading through the story and acting it out, it was quite heavy, and we had a few hitches there, damaged vocals during rehearsals into the tour. And I remember it was gruesome. I didn't talk for a week. I was just sleeping at home, and if I had to go to the shops or do whatever, I remember walking into a bank and writing on a little notepad that I'm sorry, I can't talk. I've lost my voice at the moment. My vocal cord has ripped out a little bit, so I can't talk. That was gruesome. And I remember one show, Ruva was playing Winnie Mandela, and she was my cover for Sandy, and Timomatic was my partner, and that was the day we found out that I was not allowed to sing from the ENT or talk, and she just said, look, there's nothing she can do. And my cover, Rua, wasn't ready for my cover, and her cover wasn't ready as well, because we had just opened the show in Melbourne, and Rua had to mime for me. So she was backstage for Sandy, miming and singing, reading the role, and Tim was just there listening to me mime. I mean, it was funny, and we had to explain to the audience before the show started. The director, Neil, came, and everyone was like, oh, don't worry about it, it's okay. And people were very understanding. But me, at the back of my mind, I just went into my stage manager's office and I started crying because I wasn't sure what was going to happen to me. I mean, but within a week, Deb and Neil are ENTs in Melbourne. They checked me. It started getting better. And I think I was literally in rehab between Melbourne and Sydney, not singing everything until we got to probably Perth. So half of that tour, I would like to say New Zealand, I gave it my best. But the beginning of it, it was really intense, and getting back to it because you're scared to lose your voice again and all that. But overall was a great show. But the first half, I will tell you, I literally went through a whole lot of things.
How did you keep going? Like, what was it that kept you saying, I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to keep turning up on stage and I'm going to keep doing it?
Literally, you have no choice because you've got a lead role, right? If it wasn't like it was ensemble, and I mean the contracts were divided into half. So between Melbourne and Perth was just the Australian one, and then New Zealand one was in the other half. And I remember, and I was thinking, God, what are they going to say? Tarisai, you're not coming to New Zealand. That was my first thought, and I was like, okay, stop freaking out. Nothing like that will happen. But they were very supportive, and I remember, like, I think about 3,500 was spent in like just the checkup, just that. And I remember them deciding whether they should operate and laser it out to stick it on back, but it didn't. It just healed by itself. And I was really grateful. I really thanked God for that. But I got back to normal. By the time I was in New Zealand, I was perfect. But I had to keep going because I had no choice. I was on tour. And I remember that week I was not talking at all. I was just sleeping at home and going shopping, of course, not talking to anyone, just texting. And sleeping more. And you just don't know what's coming up, and just having that appointment and having the ENT look down upon your throat to see what's going on, and you're looking at it on the camera and improvements happening. I mean, I was happy, but it scared everybody out. on our team, the singers were scared. I remember Raw was starting to freak out, and that's when she was like, Tarisai, I can't cover you anymore. Give it to Max, because I think she was also scared because, we were the strongest singers then, just me and her. So she was kind of left alone for about 3 weeks while I was kind of,
recovering.
Yeah, recovering. Yeah, but I had to keep going. You just have to, because sometimes the circumstances give you no choice. I mean, if it was Disney where there were so many animals, animals, for goodness sake, 30-something people, you could go and leave for 3-4 weeks and rest. But Madiba didn't have enough cast members or covers, so we had to back each other up. That was the hardest thing as well, but it just worked out. We just gelled together, we just did it, and we finished the tour strong.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great story.
It is a great story. Scary, but great.
But you pulled through. You pulled through and you healed.
Yes.
And so since then, you've also released, your album. You had Redemption that you released.
Yes, that was straight after Lion King. And I was meant to release one last year, but we had little hitches and hiccups, and one is coming up this year. Which I was actually looking at the vocals last night for one of the songs, and we're working on it, guys. It's almost coming up.
Can we get a little taste of what it's about, or what kind of theme this one will be around?
Yes, the title is Victorious. Basically, all these things that people go through out in the world, and you still got to learn to stand up and strong. Well, I'm a very strong Christian, so basically my basis is basically Jesus just being my strength, and it's basically describing how victorious Jesus Christ is in my life, and how much of a difference he's become in my life in bringing me victory in so many trials and tribulations. Yeah.
Amen. So you've been writing for a while, and you've been putting the songs together?
We've been putting the songs together. One song was written by one of my friends. He was like, Tarisai, there's a song I really want to give you. And I was like, on this journey, I think I'm writing. I really want to write and be me. It's like, please just listen to it. Please just listen to it. And I listened to it, and I was like, hey, oh my God, I actually love this song. And it's a really, really good song entitled Mighty God. And I really like it. So that's just one of them. So we've got really good stuff coming up, and it's really exciting.
So is that where you get a lot of your kind of inspiration from, like the Lord, from other Christian music, or in your Christian background?
Christian background, a lot of prayer, like meditation, and I spend time alone a lot, so that gives me time, although times can be very busy. I remember I just came back from the Caribbean on holiday.
Woo-hoo.
And I was like, I'll get time to write there, but I found myself sleeping and partying with cruise ship people, and I was like, okay, done, dusted. This was meant to be like a writing session for me, but I found myself meeting new people and having fun, and hey there, writing up somewhere else and partying and having fun is just in. So I spent a lot of time by myself to write and and meditate upon the word, and that's where the lyrics come up, and that's where the inspiration comes from. Listening to other singers, having communication with great singers. Miranda Curtis is one of my inspirations, and she encourages me here and there. We have chats on Instagram. She's a great woman, and she really encourages and inspires me. So really, really good.
And so what led you to start singing in the beginning? Like, where did you feel it all began for you?
Well, that was years ago. I was still in Zimbabwe. I moved, I settled in Australia when I was 14. And now I'm turning 33 this year. Of course, I wanted to hide my age. But anyway, I think it's on the IMDb, whatever. So it's just already too late to hide the age. It's gone. I don't revealed everything, guys. So dusted, done and dusted. So anyway, since I was 3, I've been singing. My mom's younger sister, she's late now. She was a really good singer. So she lived with us for a while. So we used to sing together. And I think that's where the inspiration came from. I know my mom and my dad always argue like, the singing gift came from us. And I said to my dad, I don't think it came from y'all guys, because everybody there is a doctor, a pharmacist, a psychologist, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've got a degree in psychology as well. So we're all like really educated people, and so is my mum's side, but they're also singers from my mum's side. My cousins sing. The only person from my dad's side is the Black Panther actress, Anagura. She's my second cousin.
Is she seriously?
Yes, she is. So she's the only one, me and her are the only ones who are into arts, and her father is like a professor, like her uncles are professors. So they're all like, you know, people that are really like educated academic people. And I mean, she's got a degree in arts as well. So do I. So we are academic at the same time, but we've got the art side. So it's just me and her from my dad's side. And I was like, and she doesn't really sing. So I was like, nah, this is not from your side. It's from mum's side. So quit it, honey. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know you were related.
Yeah,
That's
we are.
super crazy.
Oh, she's done really well. And it's really nice just to have someone that's doing really well in Hollywood. I mean, she's come a long way, and she does playwrights as well. And I remember she was just complaining to dad, and she's like, you know, I really wanted my playwrights to, you know, to feature a lot in Zimbabwe, but because of the economic things, like, you know, the hardships, I really wanted to promote Zimbabweans, and, you know, but it's just been a bit difficult. So she writes her own plays, and she's a great writer. She's a really great writer. And yeah, she's done really, really well.
That's incredible. Both of you.
To,
yeah, Walking Dead to, of course, Black Panther. And of course, she got plenty. I'm sure she has other stuff lined up as well. So
she's got other stuff lined up with Marvel. So that's really, really good. She's done pretty much. Yeah.
Wow.
Really well.
Both of you, you know, head in the arts. Woo, woo.
We're in the arts, darling.
Now, considering your journey so far and what you have achieved and all your achievements, what kind of advice would you give to someone who wants to, you know, start singing? Would you say, you know, go into these, you know, singing competitions as well? Or, what would you say?
Well, looking back from the time I've had, what did I have? Like a podcast thing about these television shows. Now it's basically like a short-term gimmick that you can use. Truth be told, murder me if you want or not. But anyway, I'm just going to be honest. Back in the day when we did it, it was pretty much big. And people were into watching live television, like, you know, channel 7, 9, and 10. Yeah. But now there's Netflix, there's YouTube. Yeah. And people are focused more on that. So, and I feel like that has kind of decreased the rate at which people enjoy these shows more. I don't know why it's been like that. So for the time that I looked, it was easy for Sony to sign us. Back in the day, they could sign a whole top 6. They usually used to sign a whole top 10 sometimes. But because now the music industry in Australia, without live gigs, it's done. It's dusted. It's gone. So they've kind of cut budgets even for recording wise, even for video clips and things like that. It's becoming tougher. So the way they sign people is kind of rare. They don't just sign people easily as they used to. Before, they used to pick up like a whole top of idol and say, look, you got record deals. But now they just pick probably one. And good luck if that one person is signed for at least a year. Like seriously, if they don't make a hit, goodbye, you're in the garbage bin. So I feel like now for reality TV shows, if you're going to try out for it, you got to have a good plan that after you can be able to release independently and have build a strong social media platform for yourself, because it seems like social media is running everything. Now today, if someone goes on live and says creates a little dramatic story, everyone will be like, oh my God, let me click here and watch. Yeah. That's what it is like now. So I mean, if you have that kind of plan, it's good. And I was speaking to one of my students who's trying out for The Voice this year, and she was like, I want to try. And we're talking to her and we're saying, look, this is great for you, but you got to have a backup plan that after you finish and you're out, you got to have a single ready that when they release you off from that contract, you're ready to just start releasing and, bump up your social media, Instagram, Facebook, quickly and build it up so that once you lift yourself up, otherwise if you don't, you just become a quiet game at the end of the day. So it's really different from the years that we did it. It was easy at that time, but now it's kind of a bit hard. So it's just one of those short-term things that you can use. And and I think it's still great just for exposure.